All right, so at the top, the ones written at the top, those are all of your distance and weight measurements. So we've got inches, feet, yards, miles, and then you have ounces, pounds, and tons. You'll need these all week because, guys, what we're doing, you're going to need to go back and reference this. I'm not going to take it away from you, so you'll be able to use this on Friday because what we're doing is using this information but setting it up in a different way, okay? So we'll get down to the liquid measurements here in a second. But again, these are all of your weight and distance measurements. These are all standard, okay? These are not metric. They're all standard. But you have 1 foot equals 12 inches, 1 yard equals 3 feet, 1 ton equals 2,000 pounds, 1 pound equals 16 ounces, 1 mile is 5,280 feet, and 1 mile is 1,760 yards. I'm going to slide it up in just a second. That way you can see the bottom. I did draw the Gallon Castle, but I've also got them written for you as well. Either way, you know, as long as you know what they are, I'm good. Do we need another minute on the top? Okay. Yeah, you can draw it. Hang on just a second. We'll get to that in just a second. You don't have to, no. Cups. 2 cups in each pint. All right. If we didn't get the top, I'll come back to it in a minute, okay? And we'll go ahead and scroll down so everybody else can see. All right, so here is your Gallon Castle. That is a G. I'm going to cut the top off for a second. So we've got, there once was a Gallon Castle. In it who lived 4 queens. Each queen had a prince and a princess. Each prince and princess had 2 cats. And each cat drank 8 fluid ounces of milk. So all that tells you is 1 gallon is equal to 4 quarts. There's your 4 quarts. 1 quart is equal to 2 pints. There's your 2 pints. 1 pint is equal to 2 cups. There's your 2 cups. And each cup is equal to 8 fluid ounces. So there are all of your liquid measurements in one little neat package. Believe it or not, I've actually drawn this in the grocery store before. I couldn't remember how many pints were in a quart, and so I was trying to figure it out. I know. So I had to walk my brain through it. Like I could do it if I didn't, but just to stand there and ask myself, okay, how many pints in a quart? Oh, I can't remember. So I drew it, and I was like, oh yeah. Yeah. 2 pints in a quart.
I piece of paper, like grabbed a piece of spray paint can. G Q.
All right. Do we need more time on this? Okay. Hey, please remember, guys, I am recording. Thank you. That's it. Look at y'all, keeping your notes from December. Mm-hmm. 36 inches. Okay, we'll come back to it in a minute. Alright, so go ahead and grab your note sheet that you picked up off the back table today. And we'll come back to this in a minute if you didn't get to finish, okay? But I'm going to try to move on so we have time. We'll talk you through it, okay? All right, so what we are doing today, we're combining, of course, our measurements that we memorized. You had that memorization test back in December. We're combining ratios, which remember a ratio is a comparison between 2 numbers or 2 items. Remember we had like 3 cats to 5 dogs, 4 blue M&Ms to 3 red M&Ms. So comparing 2 different things. What we're going to talk about today is called dimensional analysis. Okay? Dimensional analysis. And that's a very fancy term for just to mean we are analyzing our units and we are converting them using ratios. So this would be an example of your ratio. So for every 12 inches, you have 1 foot. So that's a 12-to-1 ratio of inches to feet. Remember, we could also write that as a unit rate of 12 inches per foot. We're going to be focusing on this, but you could also see it as 12 inches per foot, which would also be 3 feet per yard. But again, this is what we're focusing on right here. We're going to call this our conversion rates. And that's the ratio that's going to help us be able to change from one unit to another. Make sure you're writing this stuff down. Sorry. All right, so in these first couple ones, I'm going to show you how my thought process is working and how I kind of want you thinking about it. Look at our first example. We're converting yards to feet. So looking at your sheet that you just wrote down, what's our conversion rate for yards and feet? What's our conversion rate for yards and feet? How many feet per yard? 3. So we have 3 feet for 1 yard. I don't want you just writing the answer. Understand this is a simple one, and you could probably do it mentally, but I want you working through the process because this is the dimensional analysis part using ratios. You have to do this part. It is fractions. Hang on. Okay, so it does not matter which one you put on top. We could put 1 yard to 3 feet. As long as we're labeling feet and yards, it's going to be the same. So we want to make sure when we set this up that our yards go where our yards are. So this would be, we're converting that to 4 yards. But we don't know how many feet that is. So we're going to give that a variable, x feet, because we don't know how many feet that is. That is our unknown. Well, what was that thing in math we do when we have unknown numbers? What do you call it? Algebra. Okay? So we're about to do some algebra. There's one way to solve these problems that will work every single time. Now, there is another way, but it won't work every single time. So I'm going to show you first the way that will work every single time, and then we'll talk about how else we could look at it, okay? So what we're going to do when we have this dimensional analysis is we're going to cross multiply. Now remember, cross multiplying means you are multiplying diagonally. So what is 1 times x? X. Okay? And what is 3 times 4?
12.
So x is equal to 12 feet. Now, these are friendly numbers. These are easy numbers. We could have, like y'all were trying to do, say 1 times 4 gives me 4 and do the same thing to the top. But I won't always have a way to multiply this number to get this one. So by using the cross multiplying, it will work every time. Okay? Yes?
So you do 3 times 4 and you don't do 1 times x?
So technically,
I did 1 times x. So really this is 1x, and then to get rid of the 1, we would divide by 1. Okay, so x is equal to 12. So the 1 is there, but 1 times x is x.
so this is the opposite.
Okay, so anytime you have a number times a variable, it'll just end up being a variable?
No, not always. Only because it's 1. Because 1 times x is x.
If it were any other number, what would
We'd have to divide by that, and we'll get to that in just a second. Okay? All right, let's try the next one. So we have cups and fluid ounces. What's our conversion rate for cups and fluid ounces? 1 cup is 8 fluid ounces. And again, it doesn't matter which one comes first as long as you keep cups with cups, and we don't know the fluid ounces, so I'll put my variable. Bless you.
Thank you.
Okay? Again, we're multiplying by 1, and if this, let's say this were a 2, we would end up dividing by 2 to get our answer, but I'll show you that. We'll get to one of those in a second. So again, cross multiply. Okay? 1 times x is x, and 8 times 32? 256. So that gives us 256 fluid ounces. Now, again, because they were friendly numbers and I'm starting off with 1, I could have said 1 times 32 gets me to 32. So 8 times 32, bless you, gets me to 256. But I want you to get in the habit of using the cross multiplying because it will work every single time. Okay?
It's like fraction.
Yeah.
The easier way is the harder way of fraction.
Absolutely. Can somebody open that door real quick? All right, so let's look. We got tons and pounds. What's my conversion rate?
2,000.
2,000. So we have 1 ton, okay, is equal to 2,000 pounds. A little bit of trivia. Anybody know what the LB stands for pounds?
Pounds. It's like, it's Latin.
It is Latin. Libra
Bond.
Pondo. Libra Pondo. It's Libra Pondo, and that stands for pounds. Yes.
I was actually going to say Libra.
There you go. Okay, here we go. So we want to make sure this is going to stay 3 tons. We don't know how many pounds there are. So again, we're going to cross multiply. So 1 times x is x. 3 times 2,000, 6,000, and that is pounds. Again, this is one of those because the numbers are friendly. We could have said 1 times 3 gives me 3. 3 times 2,000 gives me 6,000. This is where the numbers aren't so friendly, the next one, where you would only be able to cross multiply. And that's why I want you working with that, okay? So here we go. We've got 7 quarts and we don't know how many gallons. So what's my conversion rate?
1 quart equals
1 gallon.
2 quarts equals a gallon.
1 gallon equals 4 quarts. Okay. So again, we want to line them up. So we've got 7 quarts down here, and we'll say X gallons. Now again, if you look, there's nothing I can multiply 4 by easily to get to 7, right?
You have to multiply 3.5 times 2.
Right, but there would be, like, it's not a friendly number. It's not easy. So this is where your cross multiplying comes in handy. So again, we cross multiply. Now, this is where you're going to have to divide to solve it. What is 1 times 7? 7. Okay, what is 4 times x? 4x. Now, okay, at this point, now earlier we didn't have a number times our variable. Now we do. This is a multiplication equation. How do you undo a multiplication equation? Division. What number do we want to get rid of? The 4, because it's with our variable. So we're going to divide. Sorry, I'm going to squeeze this in there. Both sides by 4. That cancels out. So 7 divided by 4 is,
1 3/4.
so 1 3/4 or 1.75. So your gallons, or 1 3/4.
Can't you just do 4 is like quarters? You could have just
Yes.
done 4
And-
gallons. That's
4 quarts.
yeah. Oh yeah. 4 quarts going to 4 keys. No, I meant gallons. And then you have 3 quarts left over.
Out of the 4 that it takes to make a whole.
And
Yes.
If it takes 4 to make 1 gallon.
Huh?
Didn't you say that you put, like, if you put the 4 quart in the top, you get the
No, you could do, even if I did this, 4 quarts over 1 gallon, I would have 7 quarts over blank gallons. So as long as you're lining them up, it's not going to matter, yeah. All right, let's try the next one. We have pounds and ounces. What's our conversion?
1 pound equals 16 ounces.
1 pound equals 16 ounces. Guys, please make sure you're paying attention. All right, so we don't know how many ounces. That's our variable. And we know we have 5.5 pounds. Now, again, we could say 1 times 5.5 gives us 5.5. Okay? And we can also cross multiply either way. What is 1 times x? And then 16 times 5.5?
It's 5 times 16, and then you do 16 times 1/2, and then
88. There you go. So 88 ounces.
Sorry,
Yes. Oh yeah, absolutely. You get the same thing. Okay. Yeah, great question. If you put 5.5, you would still get the same answer. Yeah. Just do 5.5 times 16.
Which is actually the same.
Yeah, it'd be exactly the same. All right, let's try one more. So we've got quarts and pints. What's our conversion rate?
1 quart equals 2 pints.
Okay, so we got 1 quart equals 2 pints. And we've got 7 3/4 quarts and X number of pints.
Oh, so it's going to be
So again, cross multiplying. 1 times x is x. And now we're going to do 7 3/4 times 2.
You did 2 times, it's going to be 14.5.
15 and 1/2. You were almost there. Or 15.5. So 15 and a half or 15.5 pints. Any questions so far? All right, let's flip to the back. There's a couple I want to do with you just to make sure we're good. Okay, look at number 5. Okay, number 5, we have yards to miles. We haven't done one with yards, I don't think, yet. So what is my conversion rate? 1 mile equals what?
1,720.
60 yards. Okay, I'll wait on you guys. All right, we don't know how many miles, so that's going to be X miles. And we know it's 730 yards. Now, this one we're going to cross multiply. So we have, what is 1,760 times X?
1,760x.
You got it. And now we've got 730 times 1, so 730. Now, again, this is a multiplication equation. How do you undo it? Divide. So divide both sides by 1760. And you want to get, that's the number you want to get rid of because it's with your variable.
I'm thinking we're going to get a decimal.
Try it again. You did the other way. Do 730 divided by 1760. 1. There you go. Stop right there. So 0.41. Now, that's pretty close to a half, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. So let's check the reasonability of our answer. Is 730 about 1/2 of 1760? It's pretty close because 800 would give us 1,600. Okay, so it's not far. It is close. So our answer seems reasonable. All right. Oh, I know. But it's about, it's not quite half, which is about what our answer is, not quite half. Yes.
Do we have for any other one of those?
As far as the decimals?
Like, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you'll have some other decimals, but I'm just talking about, let's check ourselves just to make sure it sounds right. Yeah, number 3 will.
So I'll have to work it out like that, like we just did.
You'll need to do several of them that way. I want you, this is the way I want you to set it up. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's try number 10. Okay, and this will be the last one, and then you're going to be on your own for homework. So guys, please listen. Okay, so we have feet and yards. What's our conversion rate? 3 feet equals 1 yard. Okay, so we've got 5 1/3 feet, and we don't know how many yards, so X yards. Again, there's not an easy way to multiply to get from 3 to 5 1/3. So we're going to cross multiply. Okay, so that gives us 3x is equal to 5 1/3. What am I going to divide both sides by? 3. Because 3 is with my variable. That's the one I want to get rid of. So x would be equal to,
Whatever it is divided by.
right, 5 1/3 divided by 3.
Equals
1 7/9. Hey guys, I would much rather you not trying to do this all in your head right now. You have a tool to use. Let's use them. Okay, and if you don't have one personally in your hands, there's a bucket back there with a minute, so I want you getting them. We're not at the point that we want our mistakes to be computational, okay? Like working it out, okay? I want you to understand the process. You have a tool to help you with the calculations. So 1 7/9 yards. All right, so the rest, that gives you about 8 to work on for homework. Let me stop this real quick.